This is parents waiting sometimes for hours to speak at a local school board meeting to express concerns about critical race theory or the masking of their students, particularly young children. Is that in and of itself, is that harassment and intimidation? Is waiting to express one's view at a school board meeting harassment and intimidation?
As the Attorney General's memorandum made quite clear, spirited debate is welcome, is a hallmark of this country. It's something we all should engage in. And
No, I don't
be
think so,
free
Ms.
to
Monaco. With
engage.
all due respect, it didn't make it quite clear. It doesn't define those terms, nor does it define harassment or intimidation. It talks about violence. I think we can agree that violence shouldn't be condoned or looked aside from in any way, swept under the rug at all. But harassment and intimidation, what do those terms mean in the context of a local school board meeting?
And what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to this emergency meeting that we called. Get everybody time to settle in and to get in here. We got a lot of important information to get to. How about that Senator Hawley out of Missouri? That's what I'm talking about. He is a leader in the Patriot movement. So what are we going to discuss today? So basically, we're going to discuss. I want to give we're going to give an overall strategy, and we're going to give an assessment report or a situation report for what we are, where we're at right now within the broader context of the war. When I say war, I use that simply as artistic expression. Okay, not in a literal sense, but in a sense, hell, I mean, there's a war on drugs, there's a war on terrorism. Hell, why not a war on corruption? And that's what this is. Okay, the Patriot movement is about a war on corruption. But let's before we even get into it, let's get our blood percolating. Hit it.
I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. Holla fuck the world with my chest full of smoke. I choke on my breakfast, the end of my necklace say Dope House Records, Screwstone, Texas. The diamonds in my emblems is cut like a princess. You can keep the Lexus cause I got two Benzes. I'm in your girlfriend's hot intestines cause I bought her two dresses and some contact lenses. Got a message in the bottle, hit the throttle in my Cotto. Click and clack my semi-auto cause I'm tryna see tomorrow. Bought a condo for my Tapo cause she working that taco. It's the top selling Pato, 23s on the Tahoe. TV screens, margarita machines with street marines. Got love for the Crips and Bloods and Latin King. If it means anything, this for all my G's. I'm in jail cause I forgot my fucking ABCs. Another DW.
All right, Patriots, we are back. Okay, so now I should have put this down on pen to paper. I should have put this down on pen to paper. We have a lot of stuff to get into. But I will later. But for right now, hopefully you can just visually. Hopefully I can paint a picture for you to visually understand. Let me get out my talking points real quick. Okay, so we're going to discuss a few things. Before we even get into that, let me introduce you. Let me introduce myself to you. My name is Ice. I'm an IT specialist and web developer. I'm also the founder of the States Party. If you don't know, after the election, I wanted to create a third party. It's basically, it's new. It doesn't discuss the antiquated, polarizing political football issues of the Democrat and Republican Party. If you want to know where I stand, I'm basically a center person. I'm just a normal American citizen who feels like stuff is starting to get dangerous right now, as far as like this deep state or whatever. I'm a normal person who's witnessed over the last 40 years. That's how old I am. America evolve, and if you're not feeling a little bit fearful, or if you don't have a little bit of hesitation, caution, trepidation, hesitation for what is going on right now, then I don't know what the fuck to tell you, because stuff is starting to get pretty fucking serious. Is there, make a long story short, is there a criminal conspiracy going on right now? It's my contention that there is. Now that's a hard sell because Americans just don't want to come to grips with that, or it's just too conspiracy land-ish. So, the CIA did a real good job covering up the JFK assassination with the whole conspiracy theory, moniker or whatever they have. So it paints, but States Party, let's see, it's called the Federation of States Political Party, the States Party. I kind of wanted to go with the Patriot Party. I just feel like me as kind of a low man on the totem pole. I didn't really feel like I had the clout to do that. I was hoping Trump was going to do that, to form the Patriot Party. But you know what? There is a Patriot Party right now, and it kind of goes without being said. It goes without being said. But the good news is the States Party has developed a strategy that seems to be pretty winning, and it might get us out of the situation we're in right now. So basically, the strategy right now is to work your states, among other things, like what Project Veritas is doing, excellent. What Infowars is doing, excellent. What Timcast is doing, excellent. And as far as the other big wigs, ABL, Rogue News, all the just the big wigs in general, as far as the alternative media space, keep doing what you're doing. As far as the ground patriots is concerned, keep doing what you're doing. Do whatever you can do. Okay, do whatever you can do, as far as protesting, whatever, investigating. What I need you to do right now is, if you haven't done anything, do something. Call your representatives, especially your state representatives. Complain and get them to act. Now, I want to go run through the players right now. These are the Patriots, okay? You got, and then we're going to go through this real quick, and then we're getting into the overall strategy. We're getting into a few other slides, so bear with me. Josh Hawley. Now, you could probably get to him. He's a lawyer. Sometimes lawyers is not bad. I know what you're thinking, lawyers in political offices was ruining things. Yeah, that's true. I totally agree with that, unless you can get a good lawyer. Because unfortunately, that's how government works. It's all about laws, and laws you have to be an expert in. That's how it works. Laws and regulations. Josh Hawley, he's kicking ass. Got a little internet issue going on right now. A little latency. Tom Cotton, he ain't bad too. He's out of Arkansas, state senator out of Arkansas. He's legit. Mike Lee, senator out of Utah. He's legit. Those are senators right now. We got governors. We got Ron DeSantis out of Florida. He's legit. Greg Abbott, he's kicking butt. Now he kind of fell off a little bit because he supported. He's always been a patriot, but he supported the whole lockdowns in the beginning of 2020. It was kind of it kind of felt like we were betrayed. But but now that he's seen what's going on, he's really turning around. He's really fighting for America right now. Right now, like if you. Just to explain the gravity of the situation. Of course, we got Jim Jordan. He's always doing good. Jim Jordan's always been solid. He's a representative out of Ohio, and of course, Devin Nunes. He's pretty solid too. He is I believe he's a representative. Is that right? Representative out of California. So. Nunez is pretty good too. Now, work your. When I say work your states, like right now, again, we don't control the federal government at all. The federal government's captured by a special interest and possibly a criminal conspiracy going on right now to It's called Malthusianism. It's people who believe that the planet's overpopulated. So you do have a psychopathic elite, and we're going to get into specific names and details later. But this is just a general overview. But so things are really extremely dangerous right now. Okay, so now that we've run through that, we're going to run through some more things. But first, let's explain the situation as far as the overall general strategy, okay? So we're gonna transition to another topic. Okay, so here we go. Now, the situation with the FBI. They, as we know, if you don't know, the FBI is set up some kind of task force or special department or whatever, special interest, I don't know, into investigating parents now. As Senator Hawley has said, this is an abuse of power. This is basically using the FBI to intimidate parents. Now, I know. Now, the first thing you want to, I know what you're thinking. Your first response is to be like, "What, motherfucker? Fuck you." If you're like me, if you're challenged, you're gonna challenge right back. But we be not to do that right now. Remember, 100% peaceful, non-violent, no guerrilla warfare of any sort. This is only gonna make them look bad. Now, but what you can do and what you need to do is work your state politicians. Like Senator Hawley out of Missouri. I'm out of Missouri. Senator Hawley is kicking butt. He's not for it, right?
I mean, this seems to, in the First Amendment context, we talk about the chill to speech. If this isn't a deliberate attempt to chill parents from showing up at school board meetings for their elected school boards, I don't know what is. I mean, I'm not aware of anything like this in American history. We're talking about the FBI. You're using the FBI.
Yeah, so if you don't understand the gravity situation that we're in, you need to understand it right now. It's painting an overall picture of the motivations of what's going on right now. There's a clear-cut agenda, and when we say we're gonna prove that there's a criminal conspiracy going on, that's exactly what we're talking about. It's not to investigate possible parents getting a little irate and threatening and doing whatever, something that they can even classify as domestic terrorism. Isn't that ridiculous now? It's not domestic terrorism. If anything, it's parents who committed, I mean, one or two, I'm sure, maybe lose their temper or whatever and maybe call them up and threaten them. But even that is not threat. I mean, you really have to understand. You can write letters that are if you're pissed off, doesn't mean you're threatening them, But that's the world we live in 2021 is that nobody's used to political activism. All right, America is politically active right now, and quite frankly, ain't nobody used to it. Now, if they would just get in line, if they would just back down, we wouldn't have a problem. But they feel they're not used to Americans become politically active. Right? They're not used to having phone calls from the parents. They're not used to having letters from the parents. They're not used to parents coming down and strongly voicing their opinions on what they want with their kids. They're not used to that. The federal government, they're not used to what's going on right now. Okay? So they're just going along as if they've always been, which is some kind of dictatorship. And it's not like that. All right. So, advice, parents, don't get intimidated. Keep doing what you're doing. Everybody stay peaceful. Don't worry about what's going on with that, right? I mean, worry about it, but don't let it throw it off to what we're trying to do. Okay, so now this is what's going on. Here's the situation. Most of the red states have banned vaccine passports. Of course, the blue states are just going to go ahead with it. New York, California. Australia, they're going to go ahead with it. This is their agenda. Their agenda is vaccine passports and vaccine mandatory vaccines and tracking. Now that is the first stage of an overall criminal conspiracy agenda that we're going to in the end we're going to prove, and we're going to bring these people to justice. So now, from the opening shots from 2020 to 2021, we did an excellent job so far. We're doing a really good job. They're not used to. This whole operation was launched from a position of weakness because of the rise of populism, the rise of nationalism, the rise of 1776 methodology across the world, and it's been really Americana. It's Americanism or Americana. Yeah, it's Americana. It's Americanism. And it sells, right? It's independence. It's rugged individualism. It's self-sufficiency. It's being a rebel, it's being a peaceful rebel, right? It's freedom of expression. It's freedom of speech. It's hard work. It's free market capitalism. So, in the beginning, most of the red states, through the leadership of Ron DeSantis, has banned vaccine passports. Now, so what they're going to go ahead and do is that these mega corporations are working in concert. They are conspiring together. We need to prove, which we don't have any hard evidence. All we have is basically observational behavior. They are working together. If we were the FBI, we could pull their signals, we can, data, and prove it, because they have to communicate somehow, right? Everybody's got to communicate. So, so what they're going to go ahead and do is yes, we're resisting it, but what they're planning on doing is just going ahead and passing it, and then expecting us to die down, and then finally accept it. That is human nature. It's we do adapt, and that's what this is basically a battle of attrition, a battle of wills. Now we can break their will, so I implore you to not give up. Now they're protesting in Australia. It might be waning, but we did get a victory. Gladys Berejiklian got removed, so that is a victory out there. You got Canada, you got Britain. They're all protesting hardcore, and you've got America. So as long as the fire and the passion doesn't die down, and as long as we don't become complacent and adaptive, we will win this thing. Okay. So the protesters on the ground, and I need to get out protesting. I did a couple weeks ago. I got out with the picket. I did some protesting. If I'm asking you to do it, I got to do something too, right? So I mean, I can't do this by myself. We need everybody on this. Now how they're getting, okay, so the situation right now on the ground. Now, if you don't know, check out some of my earlier videos here. Check those out. Now, in the beginning of 2020, I did an investigation and tracked down how they were carrying out all these bypassings of the government, right? Because in real life, the city mayor can't. They have absolutely 100% no power to force you to we'll just say, hey, I want you to start wearing 2 coats during the winter because I'm concerned for your safety, and if you catch the flu or the rhinovirus, you could possibly give it to somebody else. So I'm just arbitrarily decreeing that you have to wear 2 jackets, or you have to start wearing a pink, hat, okay, or whatever. They don't have that power. They can't do that, and they also can't just say, hey, these businesses need to shut down and these businesses need to stay open. They don't have that power, right? Now, how they got around it, this is how they got around it. Okay, and I did my investigation, so if you don't know, check it out here. And check out those videos because I tracked down back in 2020 how the city was implementing this. Because in the early 2020s, it wasn't the federal government, it wasn't the state governments. It was the city municipalities. Now, what they were doing is okay. Each city has a Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, and there's a doctor that leads it. Right now, they run the basically to make sure everything's sanitized. Like they're the ones that will issue restaurants, right, that have to have certain health codes. Like you can't have your food above or below a certain temperature because it could cause salmonella, right? Now they do have emergency powers to close a business or a building if they feel it is a health hazard. Okay, and that was the only way they had any type of power to shut businesses down. Okay, or to like institute some kind of like social distancing mask wearing policy. Okay, was through that. Okay, so that is when I say work your local city government. If you ain't drafting legislation and if you ain't talking to your local officials to get legislation passed to change that, then I don't know what you're doing. Now, we are on our end. If I'm doing it on my end, I expect you to be doing it on your end. Okay, that's the deal. Now, what they did is now they can institute an emergency, but it only lasts a certain long, like 30 days, 60 days, depending on how your city charter is coded, how they figure that out. So every time I'm in the St. Louis City, they had to keep renewing it. So every like 2 months or whatever, or month and a half, whatever, the city would like renew the emergency, shut the lockdown, and it had to go through it was on the advice of the doctor at the city of St. Louis is Dr. Echoes from the Department of Health and Human Services, or just the Department of Health. I'm sorry, Department of Health and Human Services out of the state. So the Department of Health, every city municipality has a Department of Health. Okay, so now what we need to do, what we have to change is that that was an abuse of the emergency. That's an abuse of the emergency powers. You can't keep doing that over 2 years, a year and a half, a year, 6 months. The first 90 days, okay, I can see that, right? The first 30 days, that's what it's designed for. After that, it's not an emergency, okay? After the first 60 days of the whole COVID thing, it should have been ended. It should have been lifted. It should have been all lifted up because there was already enough data in to explain the fact that this is not a pandemic, okay? Strictly by the numbers, it's not a pandemic. But it's a whole lot of corruption. They miscoded a lot of the deaths to pad the numbers, and we all know the story with that. So that is what we have to change. Now, but if you don't fight it right off the bat, if you don't research it and you don't investigate how they have this power, then it becomes normalized. And then once it's become normalized, it's hard to reverse it. So we can't allow this to become normal, okay? So we have to keep fighting, okay? Now, that's what happens with that. Now, here's the situation in the city of St. Louis. Now, the governors came out and passed their things that kind of contradicts the states. In the city of St. Louis, they finally have lifted those emergency measures, right? Now, after a year and, what is it? Almost 2 years? A year and, let's see, 18 is, let's say 19, let's say 20 months. Finally, the city of St. Louis has lifted the emergency health measure, right? That's what it was, right? And you don't have to wear a mask and you have to social distance. That's what the city was doing. It wasn't, and they were locked down in certain businesses. Certain businesses, I actually got a list of them right here. Here we go. These are a list of businesses that had to be shut down. Now, I've been trying to get interviews and contacting them. I'm going to continue to work on that. Okay. We're going to continue to work on it. A lot of them filed a lawsuit against the city. I want to get some information on how that lawsuit went. Unfortunately, I think they lost. So, unfortunately, what this is going to come down to is it's going to come down to the courts. And if the courts are corrupt, we're fucked. Okay, so now this is what's going on. Now, some businesses are deciding to go ahead and now it's up to the business. Okay, so this is where it comes into like what is legal and what's not. Okay, so now that the city is dropped their emergency health measure, right? Now some businesses have, I guess they're trying to say that they have a right to do whatever they want. Oh, it's our business. We do whatever the hell we want. Okay, so if we want our patrons to wear masks, then that's what we're gonna do. All right, that's business's rights. Blah blah blah. Right. Well, okay, so there's a few businesses still doing that, right? That you have to wear a mask. Luckily, we've won so much of the information war and the perception war because, hey, frankly, truth is on our side, right? It's easy. They have to sell lies. All we have to do is tell the truth. That it's become not popular. So what they were going to now, but that doesn't mean they're going to stop. They're gonna go ahead and go along with it in the other countries and in the blue states, and eventually force the red states to comply. Okay, they know this This is their plan over a long run. They're waiting for us to give up, and then in the background, they're going to institute it. And this is how they're going to do it. They're going to go through the corporations. Like if you want to work for a job, you have to get vaccinated. If you want to shop at a certain store, which is going to be the big ones, it's going to be like Walmart and whatever mega stores out there, most likely fast food chains or whatever. You're going to have a vaccine passport. Okay, so there's nothing stopping that from going on right now. The municipal governments have voted to mandate their employees to be vaccinated. And corporations are going ahead. Well, okay. Now, President Biden I believe he's issued an executive order. Again, an abuse of emergency powers. This is not an emergency, okay? And that's an abuse of executive order. We're going to do a little bit of research into executive orders. The good news is we're going to get it reversed. So Trump and all these politicians who are running in 2022 and 2024, this is what you need to do. This is called a surveillance technique. You have to get them on the record of saying, will you reverse these executive orders? Okay, that forces them to respond to it. Now, politicians don't want to do that because they know that it's going to polarize some of their supporters. So there might be a lot of, like Trump, for example, or any. Let's not say Trump, because quite frankly, he'll probably just say, yeah. But let's say a state politician, right, who's red. If you get him on the record, he's going to be like, he's going to talk through both sides of his mouth on that because he doesn't want to alienate some of his supporters that do believe in vaccinations, right? Which is a small percentage, but a percentage enough. Most Republican red, or even quite frankly, we've gotten so much, we've won so much over from their side to our side that it's a really good sign. Like Nicki Minaj, appreciate you doing that. Because we're not like the Republicans, okay? We're the Patriot Party. We're the Independent Party, okay? We're just the American Party. All right. Okay, so what you need to do is we need to like figure out how can we stop that from going on. Now, I have we need to get it on a discrimination list. Oh, here's a quick, real quick, congressional hearing on the dangers of vaccines. I wanted to do this a while. I haven't been able to sell it, but I wanted to put it in your head as kind of seed to let it grow. I got a list of doctors and experts in the field of the dangers of vaccines. If we can get a state, some kind of or a state that's friendly to the patriots, get them to call a congressional hearing. It can have, and then we broadcast it. It'll have the same effect. We're basically using the states as a bully pulpit. Now that we have our own media, we can do things like that. We don't have to go through the old channels like, oh, it's just the federal government. No, we can use state politicians now to as a bully pulpit against corruption. And I think if we did that, if we could call like a hearing, broadcast it, and then that way everybody's hearing it across the English speaking countries, it's going to have an effect, just like the effect largely of the same effect that the state congressional hearings that were being called after the 2020 election on voter fraud and all that, on election fraud. That's the concept. I haven't been able to get any traction with it, but I do have a list of experts and doctors that I've been tracking to get that. And so, hey, it's still an idea. I'd still like to implement that if we can. Okay. Okay. So the idea is, okay, so I want you to know that they're going to go ahead and go along with these policies. So don't, as far as like the situation of what the war is going on, be prepared to absorb that. Okay, be prepared to absorb that. And then why they think we're giving up, don't give up. In the background, be working on, we have to do a few things. We have to get okay, let's see, where is it? Oh, okay, I don't have it pulled up. But right now I'm drafting legislation on figuring out how to protect citizens, or basically workers, from being forced to do anything biologically. Like, for example, my legislation, here's the idea. It's that as we develop into the 21st century, right, we're presented with a whole host of new challenges. One is advanced technology. And this goes, we are literally on the cusp of universal brain interfaces, right? It's not fantasy, it's not sci-fi, it's legitimate technology that's emerging right now. What that is technology that using nanobots and all kinds of stuff, which we're going to get in later. That we're going to talk about this. We're going to get into that later. But with the rise of that, with the rise of like biometrics technology, with the rise of fingerprint scanning, eye tracking, eye gaze technology, cell phones, vaccines, all this affects an individual's biology, basically. And we can't enter this new era with the state or any type of corporation basically being in control of one's biological sovereignty. We can't allow that. Now, it's okay to develop these technologies and whatever, right? I'm not saying let's ban this development of this technology. But we have to give the citizen or the worker the right to be able to opt out without losing their job, losing their house, and not being able to buy or sell goods. Okay, we're not going down that route. That's totalitarianism. If somebody doesn't want to go along with that, then that's their right as a free-willed, sentient human being that God created. Right? That's the basic fundamental principles of our country. Right? So we have to. So we're right now we're looking to get some legislation. I'm not personally a lawyer, so it's hard for me to write it out. But We're going to keep you in the loop as we go. But you need to be doing that in your state. I'm in Missouri now. I can get if we go ahead and get this done, we can pass in Missouri, right? Which will counteract the federal government's orders, right? But that's good. That's where it's at right now. So roll with the states. The federal government's useless. All they need to be doing right now is worrying about foreign affairs, which is the State Department, and the military. That's all they need to be worrying about. Okay, they don't need to be. They've already abused. We've already seen the abuse. They've created a federal, a national DC police force or whatever. So we need to get that reversed. We need to get. What else do they do? So looking, I believe that they're trying to create some kind of national police force. All that we need to reverse. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we need to be doing, is looking to reverse these things, because that's their MO. Because they know in the past we've never really tried to reverse legislation. We might picket, we might protest, we might make a fuss out of it, but they know that in the end they'll just keep passing it, and then it'll become normalized. That's the whole. What I'm talking about, the whole generalized strategy, is know that that's coming. Okay, that's what they're banking on. So now that you understand that, okay, in the background, keep working on it. Work your states, work your politicians. You can get to the states. Those politicians you can get to. You can talk to, get a hold of your AGs, get a hold of your governors, get a hold of your representative and senate in the state government. Don't worry about the federal government. The federal government's captured, bro. All right, so okay, so those are the things. Now, I don't really want it to go to the courts because here's the problem if it goes to the Supreme Court. As far as we need to get this on, this really needs to be discrimination. If we can get this on the discrimination list, we're golden. But I'm afraid that the Supreme Court is compromised. Unfortunately, the only one that's got balls is Clarence Thomas. So that's another thing. That's another thing. We can't have our Supreme Court being blackmailed or some kind of strong armed somehow, leveraged. We can't have that. Plus, if it doesn't go the way we want it, then we're fucked. That's the only bad thing about going to the courts. Here's how they game it out. They're like, oh, you want to take it? You want to go through the court system? You want to go through the legal route? Sure. And then when you go into the court, the court is already fixed. So, okay, all right. So right now, that's the game plan. The game plan is to know that they're going to go ahead with these measures, right? And that they're expecting the passion and the protesting to die down. Okay? So they want to normalize it. Don't let that happen. Okay? If you're out there protesting, keep it up. Okay? That's number one. Number two is that okay, number two, as far as the information warriors out there, keep it up. Keep exposing stuff. That's good. Project Veritas, Infowars, Timcast, all the big wigs, keep it up. That's two. Three, we need to start drafting legislation. Okay, so to get all what I just said reversed. Okay, we need to get Biden's executive order with the 100+ employees thing. We need to get that reversed. So we need to get politicians on record who is down to reverse that. Okay. And then four. This is the 4-point strategy, which I'm going to write it down. And then we're going to look to after we've accomplished that, we're going to look to press charges on the people responsible for that. We need to get now Fauci. He's going to be one of them. Possibly Gates. Now I want to talk about this this beautiful gem that was sent to me on email. My dad actually sent me this, so shout out to my dad. Good looking out. This is awesome. This is some great literature. I'm gonna read the first sentences, and we're gonna close this up after this. But this is some person, as you can see, Spartacus. That means nameless, right? That's the whole idea of Spartacus. Hey, he's been coming up with all this literature about the COVID-19. I'm gonna use this as a springboard for a lot of my episodes. I'm going to be breaking it down section by section, and we're going it out. But this is in-depth report. I'm going to create PDFs and pass it out to all my followers. But look at it. This just talks about the whole corruption, and it's all kinds of sources. Look at all these sources. Look at all these sources that we got. That we're going to be going. We're going through every source with the fine-tooth comb. Right? Look at all this. Look at it. Now I can present this almost to my state senators right now. Like I can send this to Holly right now and be like, hey, I demand action. There's a technique we could do, but it's risky. It's a surveillance technique. Basically, what we need to do, what you internet sleuths and information warriors out there need to do is you need to start researching and putting together a packet of a case against certain individuals, okay? That had we already know Pfizer is caught up in criminal activities. We need to get charges pressed against him. We need to develop. Okay, we have the theory. Right? We have all the information. Now we just got to tie it together with evidence. Once we do that, we build a whole bunch of packets, and we give it to law enforcement. Now here's what we could do. If we get an airtight case, right, we put it all together, we put all our information, and we like, look, we have evidence on all these individuals, and we can prove conspiracy, right, or some kind of something. We put the case, and we go to the FBI, we go to the DOJ, we go to the headquarters, and we have it on camera. We present it to him saying, we demand an investigation into this right now. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to put them in a position to where they can only respond in two different ways. They can either deny it, which is going to smear their reputation even more. Be like, look, we have this case. We've put together like an inch thick of evidence that there's clear-cut criminal conspiracy behind this whole COVID-19 operation, and you're not going to do anything. Or they're going to do something, right? Now we have them on record, okay? Because if you don't go to them, right, that's what technically that's what they're for, okay? The DOJ is supposed to be open to the public. If the public, has done their own research and their own investigation together and has come up with as a grand conspiracy in criminal, whatever behind this COVID-19, which there's a lot of things, but we're going to break it down later. That they're supposed to be open to taking it, not to be like, oh, okay, what's your name? we're gonna entrap you now or whatever. That's what I'm talking about. That shouldn't be like that. They should be open to the public, not closed off, and be like, if you go to us, if you try to do that, we're gonna like harass you and entrap you and stuff, right? So that's a technique we can move. Now the problem is that when I say risky, if we were to try to do that, they'd be like, okay, yeah, we'll look into it, and then like 6 months later, or what they'll do is they'll just slow roll it and it'll never get done and be like, yeah, we're still looking into it. Or they'll finally come out and be like, yeah, we looked into it and we concluded that there's no criminal conspiracy, and then it dies right there. That's usually what they do. So I almost don't even want to go to the DOJ. But then, so who are we going to get to prosecute these people? Because we need to actually bring these people. We need to arrest them, try them, right, and then prosecute them, and then administer justice. That's what we need to do. That's the end game on this. That is the end game. So right now we're in a situation where we're trying to just keep the ship afloat, okay? Because we struck a few icebergs. We just need to get the ship. We need to just patch the holes right now. Once we patch the holes, then we're gonna look to who sabotaged the bridge and crashed us into the iceberg, right? Because there's inside saboteurs that, to control the bridge, deliberately rammed us into some icebergs. Okay. Let me read you this first section. And so say, hello, my name is Spartacus. I've had enough. We have been forced to watch America and the free world spin into inexorable decline due to a biowarfare attack. We alone, with countless others, have been victimized and gaslit by propaganda and psychological warfare operations being conducted by an unelected, unaccountable elite against the American people and our allies. Our mental and physical health has suffered immensely over the course of the past year and a half. We have felt the sting of isolation, lockdown, masking, quarantines, and other completely nonsensical acts of healthcare theater that have done absolutely nothing to protect the health or well-being of the public from the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Now we are watching the medical establishment inject literal poison to millions of our fellow Americans without so much as a fight. We have been told that we will be fired or denied our livelihoods if we refuse to vaccinate. This was the last straw. We have spent thousands of hours analyzing leaked footage from Wuhan, scientific papers from primary sources, as well as the paper trails left by the medical establishment. What we have discovered would shock anyone to their core. First, we have summarized our findings, and then we'll explain them in detail. References will be placed at the end. Okay, so we're going to get into this throughout the next few days, starting tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and the day after that. We're going to be going through this. So tune in. Look for this episode to come out tomorrow. So do me a favor, subscribe, like, and share. Share my goddamn fucking videos, because the more reach I have, the more effectiveness I can have, okay? Because I'm just a normal guy in the fight of the information war, but I only have 134 subscribers, okay? I need more subscribers. You need to help me out. Share my videos, even if they suck. I mean, it's every little bit helps, right? And I don't think they suck. I might not be as charismatic or whatever as other people, but hey, I didn't grow up wanting to be a radio personality, okay? I'm just a normal American, but I'm dedicated on a psychopathic level, that this is all I think about every day, every hour. So help me out. Yeah, so this is dope, man. This is a dope freaking report right now. Okay, so it's even like basically. Now we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that next time. I think I've rambled on long enough. I wanted to promote some websites. One is I can't think of them. I'm sorry. I should have that ready. I'll produce that next time. I don't know. I guess we're gonna end it right there. I'm your host, Ice. I love all you Patriots. Love fighting with you. It's other than the fact that this is serious and dangerous, I've really enjoyed. I've enjoyed this. I don't know, the challenge, the way it's made me smarter. I've become highly skilled. Shit, I've learned so many skills: web development, graphics design. I just started learning three-dimensional graphics design. You ever fuck with Blender? It's called Blender software. Yeah, it's free. Download it. Start tinkering with it. You don't need to be trained. You just it just takes practice, really. There's so many like tutorial videos. That's what's really changed. That's what's as a people, as a real advantage, because look for the country. All this is this is a reason what's going on is there's a reason behind it, and one of the reasons is the fact that our economy is going to crash. So, but don't be too demoralized by that, because the difference between us and the Great Depression era is that we have the internet, and as long as we work together, there's no reason why we can't train ourselves. There's so many videos out there. The internet's not going to go down, right? So it's going to be different. We do have some tools at our disposal to get us out of this, and one is knowledge, right? Let's say the economy does crash. Let's say all the universities. Let's say nobody can go to college, because let's be honest, everybody gets either a loan, a scholarship, or a government grant. Nobody pays out of their own pocket. So let's say that dries up. That doesn't mean nothing. Okay, there's plenty of people who would love to volunteer to teach like a group of 10 people, every day, at a certain time at a park or at a house. As long as we work together, there ain't nothing we can't do. And as long as the internet, you can literally, if you had one expert who knew how to do it, and in a class that utilizes the internet to, like, let's say, learn a skill. Let's say coding. You don't need a university. You could do it literally, and all become excellent coders. So there's plenty of professions out there in the future that are going to be in demand. So don't be discouraged. We're going to get this. We do know why they're trying to do this, and one of them is overpopulation, pure and fucking simple, which is an actual threat to us. And they're thinking it's only decades away from being a literal problem. They want to try to usher in this control or something like that before the resources just dry up. Once it dries up, and boom, right? But we're gonna get into that later. Hope you enjoyed the episode. And that's it. All right, I'm gonna talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, take it easy.